2016 anime. One Punch Man, Assassination Classroom, My Hero Academia, A Silent Voice, Your Name, and Konosuba are just some of the shows that were super popular around that time. I remember I was really diving into a bunch of different anime, coming across random series that were fully posted to YouTube here and there. And the main thing I remember about this time is that I was really into rom-coms. I also remember that most of the rom-coms that I watched were complete trash. But what I want to do is look back at a few of those shows I watched back then and just see how much of a gooner I was. The first show that I want to look at is this one called I'm not gonna lie, watching this anime made me feel like a sweaty 300-pound basement-dwelling chonker who hasn't taken a shower in months. This show is definitely my 13-year-old self's dream. There's this guy who's your average, ordinary, black-haired high schooler that gets kidnapped by some big, massive, and muscular men. He's brought before a school principal of an all-girls school. Why? Well, as it turns out, the school that he's brought to is a very prestigious school where very high-class girls get their education. The problem is that they are all secluded from the outside world, so when they graduate and start to integrate into society, they fail. They become recluses, they're scared of men, they can't even ride a train without having problems. They even become the worst of the worst. Gamers. So they have to find a commoner to help make the real world less intimidating once they go into it. Kimito gets picked to do this because 1, he is average. Yes, that's actually one of the reasons. The other reason is because they think he has a fetish for big muscular men. So now Kimito has to pretend that he's gay and doesn't like girls. When Kimito gets to class, my 13-year-old self's dream really starts to play out. All the girls are surprised by him. They're very, very intrigued. And everything he does catches the attention of all the girls. He pulls out a cell phone and all the girls gasp. They're like, "Oh my gosh." "Oh my gosh. Let me be your girlfriend." Every small little movement this guy does, they're surprised by. There's one point in here where they see him eating a cup of ramen, and of course the girls, never seen any of such wizardry, they want to try a little. So they divide it up equally among them and are absolutely flabbergasted when they take the tiniest little bite of it. Delicious. This show is stupid, so stupid that it's a little funny, but that's like the extent of the gimmick that goes on here. There's even a whole episode that's based on the girls going outside onto a normal street with Kimito guiding them. Sort of like a field trip, except the street is a replica of the city block, and one of the most exciting places there is the McDonald's. Nice. But now let me introduce you to the main cast, or really the harem that gets built up around Kimito. You have this 5-year-old looking autistic girl that is a genius who likes Kimito and is actually the same age as him. There's the samurai girl who got beaten in a duel by Kimito. There's the most popular girl in the school who wants to instantly marry Kimito as soon as she sees him, and she just gets more and more obsessed as the series goes on. The last girl is this social outcast who only comes out of her shell whenever Kimito's with her and they're alone. Or, well, maybe not when they're alone, but whenever she's with Kimito, she's able to be herself a bit more. These 4 come together to form what is known as the Commoner Club, which consists of them hanging out with Kimito in his room. We all know why Third Tail and Me was so interested in this show. It was because of the transition and character development that the girls undergo after coming to learn about how the outside world works. Having to take on challenging and new experiences that completely shock them. I don't really know where I'm going with this. Listen, this anime is all about these girls chasing after Kimito, and although it does get serious here and there, or at least tries to get serious here and there, all the problems are magically solved because of Kimito. That's like, 20% of what the show is. The other 80% is After coming back and watching this so many years later, I am awed by what I was watching back then. It actually hurts knowing that I sat down and watched this whole show through. One of the worst uses of my free will ever. No-rin is an anime that I have a lot of nostalgia for some reason. It's an anime that's more of a comedy than anything. You have this group of friends who go to a high school that specializes in agriculture. So farming and taking care of livestock, you know, the main things that they do around there. Kosaku is a student who is obsessed with this one idol girl. He dreams about her. His entire dorm room is decorated with her. The big twist in this anime is that this idol that Kosaku's life revolves around ends up quitting out of the blue, his only reason for living, as he says. He falls into despair, and right after this, that same idol that he's been following and I guess he's been inspired by shows up at his school. It's a weird mix between learning about farming, laughing at dirty jokes, and a little bit of romance between Kosaku and an idol girl plus his childhood friend. Definitely more of a more goofy, funny anime than anything. It is better than Shomin Sample. Definitely. I didn't feel like I was as much of a 300-pound neckbeard while watching this. Made me laugh a little bit, so that's pretty cool. Also, Kei is the best character in this anime. He's riding a freaking goat. Like, he's cool and funny. Definitely the best part. This is the most mild anime I've come back and watched. It was released all the way back in 2012. What I mean by mild is that it isn't as crazy or dirty as no-rin, or it isn't as weird as Shomin Sample. Those two shows really stick out in my mind because they're just so stupid. This one feels about as slice of life as slice of life can get. At least that's how it is at first. The characters in here are going through Chunibyo, which is them acting out odd delusions. There's this girl Rika who's always spouting out stuff about the Eye of the Wicked Lord and that she's in a constant battle with unseen forces. She has dark wizardry powers and, you know, that sort of schizophrenic stuff. Nowadays, the best thing I can compare it to is people aura farming and being nonchalant and whatnot. I don't know. Yuta Togashi used to be exactly like Rika when he was in middle school. He used to be the dark flame dragon. But it's once Yuta starts high school that he realizes that LARPing and pretending to be some ultra cool Sigma Alpha demon werewolf lord wasn't all that cool. So he tries to wipe away anything to do with that and tries to start fresh in a high school where no one recognizes him. But things go wrong as soon as Rika and Yuta meet because Rika knows about all the Chunibyo stuff that Yuta has done. She's always running around as the Eye of the Wicked Lord, roping Yuta into whatever she's doing. There is a whole bunch of romantic stuff that goes on, at least in the first half. And for the most part, I found it boring, and I was really questioning why I even remembered this one in the first place. But it's around the halfway point, episode 6, that the tone of the anime really shifts from goofy and lighthearted to a much more serious and sad tone. Rika lives with her older sister who comes home late from work, and her circumstances aren't really looked at that deeply until they take a trip to her grandpa's house, and it gets revealed that her dad died. When this happened, this obviously upset Rika and her sister. But one of the worst parts of this is that the rest of the family knew that her dad was going through this terminal illness. But Rika didn't get to hear about this, and she thought he was eventually going to get better. So it really came as a huge shock to her when he did pass away. A part of the reason she went into this whole Chunibyo thing and invented her whole fantasy world is because she believes if she can go see a place beyond what she calls the invisible boundary lines, which are really just cars and lights on the other side of the sea, she will be able to see her dad. So this whole thing that she does that seems cute and quirky is a way to cope with her dad's passing. This whole idea gets introduced halfway through the anime after we are already familiar with Rika's Chunibyo behavior, and it caught me by surprise, to say the least. This is definitely one of the plot points that caught my attention rewatching it, and it's where the story really strays away from purely being slice of life. Definitely a very big shift in storytelling compared to the last two animes I talked about. For the first half of Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions, I forgot why I even liked this one, but it really hits you with some emotional story beats near the end. It's been a while since I last seeked out any sort of romance animes or mangas. The last one I remember sitting down and reading was this one called The Dangers in My Heart. No-rin and Shomin Sample are stories that I couldn't really help but just laugh at because they're some of the worst I've seen in a while. But I was very surprised at Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions that it actually takes itself a little bit seriously. Looking back at these and just seeing what I was interested in back then makes me laugh a little bit. Yeah, they're just odd. Anyways though, if you've seen any of these shows, I'd like to hear your thoughts on them. But yeah, that's it. I'll have another video coming out soon, hopefully. But yeah, see you then. Have a great day or night, and peace.
I'm semi, I stay automatic. Money add then multiply. I call it math for mathematics.